Hello again, back for another video today, and today's video is going to be about Dustin Martin and how his injury might affect his card prices and the footy card hobby as a whole, and if some players might have to fill his void in the new releases coming out this year. But before I get into that, I said I was going to give away a card last video, and that's this card, Dane Zorko Platinum Stand-Up, and I'm going to just flip a coin. It's going to be between Warriors Son and Bailey Horvath. They both commented, and I know they both subscribe to the channel, so I'm just going to flip the coin with Warriors Son being heads. And it is heads, so Warriors Son, if you I'll just show that. If you want the card, just send me your address to my email below. I'll chuck it in the description and I'll get it sent off to you, no problems. So now into the video for today, Dustin Martin's injury. First of all, I just want to say, obviously his health comes before his footy card prices, and compared to his injury, I know it is quite serious and season ending, so compared to that, the footy card prices aren't very important, but his injury is very important to the footy card hobby in general, because generally all the market has been decided by his prices over the last couple of years. Like, a release comes out, especially with the new releases coming out this year, like he got injured before they even started. So generally, when a release comes out, his price shoots to the top, and then all the other prices kind of fall in behind him. And lots of the other prices are actually determined by how high Dusty's cards is, I believe, anyway. So it's going to be an interesting time for the hobby. The first question is his cards going to go down? Are the prices of his cards going to go down? And I think yes. I think it's just a logical answer to say yes, because although the hype hasn't really died down yet, his prices are still pretty much the same as what they were, maybe a bit lower. I think, yeah, with Richmond not playing as well, and especially without Dusty, I think they're going to struggle to make a run in finals or even make finals at all. So I think the Richmond hype train and the Dusty hype is just going to slow down. It's not going to stop. And I think long term, he's still a very good person to collect financially. I don't have any doubts about that, about his legacy. But over the short term, his hype, as soon as he's not playing on the weekend and he's not doing stuff, then his hype is just bound to drop off. Now, although I think his price is going to go down, I actually don't think the injury is the worst thing to happen to his cards. And that's because he wasn't actually playing that well to start with for the last couple of months. He had a really good start to the season, but he hasn't really been playing well when Richmond have been playing poorly. So say Richmond don't end up making the finals and Dusty was in the team, he never got injured, that would be a lot more harmful to his legacy and to his card prices, I think, than getting injured. Now he's injured, people don't connect the team's success and him personally. Like, you can't blame Richmond not playing well when Dusty's not playing himself. And if anything, it just increases the aura around him of like a winning player, of a legend of the game, because say Richmond missed the finals or get knocked out first round, and then Dusty comes back next year and they make a deep run, well then it will just be another reason for people to say, oh, well, Dusty is just a game breaker. He carries Richmond on his back. He's just a winner. He's a legend of the game. So I think it might actually add to the hype next year if he comes back strong. Just not sure if that's going to happen, but I definitely wouldn't put it past him to come back really firing after some time off. Generally, all the best players, I'm thinking Ablett, Dangerfield, Franklin, they all, after they've had some time off, they just soak it up, and then when they come back and playing, they're playing some of their best footy. That's what I see about the best players of the game. They don't, when they take time off, they don't get worse for it. They actually just get more motivated and get better for it. So that's kind of the feeling I have towards Dusty. And just one more thing before I move on, I do see a situation where his prices go up, and that is a situation where footy cards grow exponentially from here to the end of the season. And that's possible because the big releases of the year are still to come. I'm not sure what marketing and advertising Select has in mind, but I think especially with the lockdowns still happening in Australia, I think it's a very possible time for footy cards to boom. I don't know how this is going to happen, but I see it as a possibility. And if that happens, then Dusty's prices will increase, but I still think in relative terms they will decrease, as in the whole market will go up. So the whole market might go up 40%, but then Dusty's cards will only go up 20%, I think, which technically his price has gone up, but because the whole market's grown so much, his cards in relative terms have actually decreased. That's the situation where I see his cards going up. Now, because I think Dusty's prices are going to go down in this year, I think that's going to create a bit of a vacuum in the hobby. And who's going to fill that vacuum? That's the second big question for me, at least. And right now, the most hyped player is Sam Walsh. I don't think that's any there's any you can't argue against that. He's super hyped. I know Dangerfield come out during the week and said he has a chance to be one of the best ever. The commentators are speaking up left and right. His card prices are jumping wildly. So I think he's probably the number one contender to fill the void at the moment. And for deeper in the season, I think Bontempelli is really going to be the one to turn into the number one player in the AFL if he's not already seen as that at the moment. He's the Brownlow favourite, and he's been probably top 5 players in the AFL for the last, at least 3-4 years, I'd say. So he's been around about, but this end of the season, if he wins the Brownlow and they win the premiership, it could really be the first season where he's seen as the best player in the AFL, because Dusty's had that crown for the last couple of years. So I think Bontempelli's has a big chance of filling the void, and his price is going up. And short term, I think Sam Walsh is really taking the brunt of it. But I'd just be very careful about jumping on these hype players. Like Sam Walsh's prices have already, and probably over the next month will double. Like his draft pick signature, there's so much hype and there's so much demand, the supply just can't keep up, and that just drives prices sky high. You already know this happened earlier in the year when there was players like Petrarca, when he just had a huge hot streak and people were saying, oh, he's the best player in the comp, yada yada. And people obviously still know he's right up there. He's one of the better players of the comp, but no one's as hyped about him at the moment. It moves very quickly. That's why I pick players who are completely ingrained in the AFL, like they're already legends, rather than trying to follow the hype train. Because if you bought Petrarca at his peak, if you buy Walsh at his peak, and there's probably a couple others I'm forgetting during the year. Even if you bought Dusty as a peak at the start of the year, his draft pick signature was like $1,500 or something. You'd think that that's going to retrace probably back to $800 at the end of the season maybe. And the lesson I think to take out of this is just really watch the hype. But on the flip side of that, the same as when I said when Dangerfield was injured and everyone forgot about him and his price has gone down. Well, his price is starting to go up again now. He's playing pretty well. Geelong's a real premiership shot. So, yeah, his prices are slowly starting to increase again. And the same thing's going to happen with Dusty. As soon as people forget about him, his prices are going to go down. But then that's actually the right time to buy. It's a bit counterintuitive, but you buy if you really believe in the player. You buy when they're not playing well, when they're injured, when their team's playing badly. That's when you buy, because if you wait to buy at the absolute peak, you're almost always going to lose money, and that unless that person just goes on like a 5-year tear, which has never really happened in AFL before, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, I'd just be really wary buying someone like Sam Walsh right now, and in the next couple months, I'll probably be looking at Dusty high-end cards and see where they end up. That's probably all I've got to say today, and hopefully the injury isn't too bad and he can get back to his best as soon as possible. But I'll see you guys next video. Cheers.